Good evening, everyone. This is Rochelle Wilhite, the designated broker and owner for Best Choice Realty. We're going to be on conference call number 1 tonight, so thank you for joining us if you just joined the conference call system. We're going to talk about day in the life of a top producer, some basic things that you can do as a top producer to set yourself up for success. We're going to go over some ideas on planning to be a top producer. We're going to talk about setting up your home and office for a virtual environment. And then what to do when you start your day, maybe some ideas that you haven't considered that you might want to start trying after the call today. And then building your 150 list, what you want to do today to get working on that. And then we'll end the call. So there's some ideas and notes that I included as far as a success steps tracker. You're welcome to print that out and start using that today and throughout the 12 weeks of our sessions, and just start to track, maybe the daily and weekly goals that you're having. And you're always welcome to send me an email and let me know how you're doing, or if you want some feedback on your plan. I've coached hundreds, if not 1,000 agents at this point in time. So would love to share in your success and make sure that I'm there to support you in the development of your business. So let's talk first about planning to be a top producer. What are some common mistakes that I hear a lot from the top producers? And some things as you're a brand new agent, or perhaps you're getting back in, you've been out of the business for a long time, what are some things that you can do? Or what are some mistakes that others have made that have gone before you? The most common mistake that I have heard top producers say is, oh, wow, I did not realize how busy real estate can be. And they often take for granted the people around them. So, for example, I'm guilty of this as well as a top producer, where I have young kids. And early on when I first got into real estate, I didn't have children. And then when I had my first baby, all of a sudden I had to realize I had needed some sort of person to help me with, taking care of the baby at times so I could focus on my business. So I had to be very structured in how I handled my business and when I handled my business. But I took for granted oftentimes those people around you. So make sure that if you're wanting to be a top producer, you want to plan to be a top producer, you should make sure everyone understands that a real estate agent's life cycle or scheduling is oftentimes flexible, and sometimes it needs to be where you can go to your room, shut the door, or be in your car, and your family or people around you understand that you're on a business phone call. The other common mistake that I hear a lot of top producers make early on in the business is not having a schedule. So they start out thinking, oh, I'm just going to go and show anybody properties, or I'm going to go meet with anybody to go out and list their home. And they go about their day or week and not really having a schedule, just kind of going with the flow. And that can work for maybe a part-time agent, maybe an agent that only wants to do a deal or two a year. But if you're on this call tonight and you're looking at ways to really expand your business or get more business, you want to have a schedule. That's one of the top mistakes that a top producer will make early on in their career. So when we talk about having a schedule, it doesn't have to be, this is my schedule. It has to be so regimented. Some people work best in the morning. Some people work best in the afternoon. And if you know my schedule, sometimes I actually work better in the evening. It's kind of why I do these conference calls at 5:30 instead of 8:30 in the morning. I'm not a morning person. So I know that about myself. And so when I book my schedule, or when I set up my schedule for supporting agents, doing interviews, doing appointments, I obviously set my schedule around when I do my best work. And I've learned that because of the coaches I've paid for and the training I've received. So when you're thinking about, oh, I've got to create a schedule, you might want to think about, when do you work best? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? Is it in the evening? Is it during the weekends on both days? Is it in the evenings? Again, you can determine what your schedule is, and you can block out accordingly. A typical consideration, though, is when you block out your schedule and you're actually working in real estate from, like, say, 9 to noon Monday through Friday. And there are distractions that obviously will come into play. If you block that into your schedule, and your family or other people involved in your life realize that you're at your business or in your business, working on your business during that 9 to noon Monday through Friday schedule, you'll get a lot more done. And that's just an example. If you would like to share with me your schedule just to kind of see if that's typical, or maybe some things you haven't thought of, I'm happy to give you some pointers. For example, when I was making my phone calls, my prospecting phone calls, I found that by just changing my prospecting, my coach was saying, oh, you get up in the morning, get your phone calls made. Well, for me, I'm not a morning person, so my voice was not obviously set to the right tone. My mindset wasn't set up right, and so my planning needed to be such where I actually did my prospecting phone calls more in the late afternoons or evenings. And so I blocked out, not every day because I was very regimented in my approach, but I blocked out a few times during the week where I could sit down and make my prospecting phone calls. I remember distinctly, this is an example again of a time when I was prospecting, and Eric, my husband, he was watching, I think he was into the series Lost, if you remember when that was coming out. And I remember I wasn't really into that TV show, so it was a time when I found that it worked really well to make phone calls, and I made a lot of prospecting calls during those Lost series day, that TV show Lost. And Eric watched the TV show, and I got lots of contacts made. And so it was, again, finding what works for you, blocking that time out, letting your family or other people in your life know that that's your time, that's when you make your prospecting calls, setting the right expectations with your family or your friends, and then listing out what you're going to do during that time, whether it be on a calendar or you've written something like a to-do sheet. You want to make sure that you have really done a good job of blocking that on your schedule. You also want to consider on your schedule having personal time versus real estate time. And again, like I alluded to earlier, making sure you set expectations with your family and your friends of when it's personal versus when it's real estate. Make sure both sides complement each other. So when I sit down every Sunday with my family and let them know, Mom's going to be here, or Mom's going to be down in Tacoma, or Mom's going to be up in Snohomish County on a certain day, they know that I'm going to probably be home a little bit late on Tuesday, or that I'm going to be working early on Saturday morning, meeting with my father-in-law to show him properties. Whatever that may be, you want to set expectations every week. Some of you might have to spend time daily, so they understand initially the kind of commitment you're going to need to make to the business. But make sure you block out some time for personal time. And I do that every week, and that was something I did early on in my career that definitely, I think, helped me become a top producer, because I work hard, but I also like to play hard. And so when I'm playing, I had those dates on my calendar, and Eric knew that, we would go out for a weekend, or we'd get away, do a little weekend getaway on those weekends where I did not have real estate appointments booked on my schedule. So make sure you book those on your calendar ahead of time. If you're looking at the next year, you might want to sit down with your family and figure out when you want to take your vacations and block those times out. Block the personal time into your schedule, and that way you'll be able to work around that. List your responsibilities and take care of yourself first. If you're sick, if you're not feeling good, if you have health issues you're working through, make sure you're taking care of yourself first, and then be flexible with your real estate appointment. There are ways to work real estate into your life. Going into setting up your home and virtual office, you want to consider your location. I told you earlier when I first got into real estate, I wasn't, working with children and other distractions. I had a dog, and the dog had to be walked, and obviously I was, household things I had to do. I had to, I think I got in the habit of, I couldn't get started on my work until I actually ran the dishwasher and got breakfast cleaned up and kind of went to the next. And then I thought, if I got my breakfast done, now I got to do my laundry. And you start thinking about working on your home and realizing, this is not working at all. I need to be able to set myself up for success So once I realized that I needed to actually have a space in my office or space in my home to work, my business doubled just because I treated it like a business. So if you're thinking, oh, I've got a laptop or I've got an iPad, I can just kind of do my business when I want to do my business, yeah, that will work. I mean, you could get by, but I think you'll be able to be more successful if you actually establish a place where your real estate is done. For me, I had a home office at the time when I was selling real estate, and I was a top producer. Or I have, I do real estate in my car. When somebody says, oh, Rochelle, I want to go check out this property, or I'm thinking about listing my home, my neighbor decides they want to put their house on the market. My real estate business, the business that you guys are probably running every single day or Monday through Friday, or maybe you're working on the weekends or evenings, that can be set up very nicely in your car. Are you prepared for that? Do you have a bin for your car? Do you have all the necessary tools? Do you have an iPad? Do you have a way that you can send things to your printer at home? Do you have a way that you can scan? Consider maybe you want to come in the office and work for a few hours every week. I mean, again, you want to set up your plan and your virtual office in a way that makes sense to you. And do you have the right tools? Maybe you need to look at purchasing a computer or some sort of better device to help you get through your day. But ultimately, you want to think about when you're making your phone calls, do you have a place where you can sit, where there's no distractions, where the dog's not barking, where the kids aren't crying, where you don't have the husband or the wife distracting you, say, hey, what about dinner, or what about this? They know that from, 8 to 9 or 6 to 7 or 4 to 5, you're making your prospecting phone calls for the day. So think about your location and where that place needs to be, and then set up yourself for success by having the proper tools. What do top producers do when they start their day? So I'm going to kind of go through some good ideas that you might want to write down. And this might be some of the things you're going to list your responsibilities or write some things down as far as what you want to do when you are prospecting or working in your business. These are some of the top producers, what they do every day. A lot of top producers start their day by sending 5 handwritten notes out to their sphere of influence. It could be notes such as just they're grateful, they know that they know these people. It could be a thank you note. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. Thank you for spending time with my son. Thank you for helping, with his tutoring. Thank you for being there for me when we talked on the phone a few weeks ago. It could be a lot of different things that you're thankful for or having gratitude for. It could be as simple as a handwritten note that's just following up. Notice I wanted to keep you apprised on the local market. I wanted to follow up and just let you know I was thinking about you and that there was a property down the street that came on the market. It could be a handwritten note just to follow up with somebody. It could be a birthday. I get notified every single week if you go to your Facebook on those friends and family that I have or in their network that have liked my page or that have said that they want to be my friend on Facebook. And so one thing I did for a good long while, for about 3 months, was to send birthday cards, handwritten birthday cards to those individuals on Facebook, and it worked really well. All of a sudden, they get something that's handwritten, and it's bringing that social aspect on Facebook more to a traditional, personal birthday card that goes out. I mean, I'll challenge anybody on this call to find out, how many birthday cards did they actually receive in the mail? Probably not many. They might have got about 100 if they have as many friends as I have on Facebook, saying happy birthday on Facebook. But how many of those people actually took it offline and actually received a birthday card from maybe a close acquaintance or a family or friend or somebody like that? We have birthday cards here in the office that have a very subtle, best choice Realty in the cake. You're welcome to come and purchase some birthday cards from me. They're very simple, classy birthday cards that we use in here in the office, and you're welcome to come and purchase some of those on your own. and use those for these birthday handwritten notes that you're sending out to your clients. It could be just as simple as I wanted to inquire about something. I wanted to, handwritten, that will go a long way. Or just saying hi, just thinking about you. There is an agent I know up in Kirkland, and she builds her whole business around handwritten notes, and she sends out 5 handwritten notes out a day, and that would be about, she's working 4 days a week. She's not working even 7 days a week, but she sends out about 20 handwritten notes, which would be about 80 handwritten notes a month. She has a special little stamp that she uses with her, I think, her name and her company on the corner of it, and she just has those sent out, and it's almost seamless in how she sends out those handwritten notes, and she's built her whole business on that. So again, that works. You also, in your handwritten notes, or what they call a success letter, you could create success letters and just let people know that, hey, I just want to let you know I sold another house in Kirkland. You could send a little letter and just, here's a statement from my past client about the service that was rendered. Evidence of the success that you're having to your client base or to those friends and family members goes a long way. That, when they think about, who's in real estate, that you want them to come, you want to be the one that comes top of mind. So think about that as what you're sending out as far as a handwritten note or evidence of success letters. That could be a tip for a top producer. Other top producers plan to send out 5 emails a day at least. And when I say plan to send 5 emails, you think, that's really low. That's not very many emails. Well, that's not, again, there's drip emails that can go out. There's newsletters that can go out. There's obviously listings that go out on your behalf when you utilize the tools that we have at Best Choice Realty. I'm talking about 5 personal sounding emails a day. If you were doing that, that's 5 contacts. That's 5 personal touch points that are made. And I think it goes a long way to have those sent out. Other top producers will complete 5 slide dials, or what we call voicemails. So if you haven't checked out slydial.com, it's SLYDIAL.com, it's a way for you to leave voicemails on people's phones without speaking to somebody. So for me, if I wanted to just get 5 messages out to people, that might be a way to do it so that I can get that task accomplished. What that will do for you is obviously put a name and a face and a voice to that and personalized to that voicemail user. And you're thinking to yourself right now, okay, well, I already text message my people. I already send phone calls. I already send emails. Maybe you haven't tried a slide dial, and that's a nice approach to be able to get that message to somebody in a way that's very sly-like. So again, just a tool that you could try if you're putting that on your to-do list. It's worked for me. I've sent out and emailed a lot of people. My conversion rate on leads was huge, and I used that program to actually dial a lot of leads. And I would just make a commitment every single day. I would get on the phone and obviously try to reach 5 people, but also make 5 slide dials or leave 5 voicemails for people. You also might want to incorporate text messages. So if you're prospecting for new business or you're wanting to touch base with some of your clients, if you know that they're active on, they have a cell phone or you have a cell phone number in your database, you might want to go ahead and, text them real quick and just say, hey, I was thinking about you today. Or maybe you want to say happy birthday in a text rather than on Facebook. Change it up a little bit. If that's what you did last year, maybe you want to change it up and do something different this year. But that's texting is a very big thing right now. Slide dials is awesome and efficient way to use your time. Obviously, emails that are personal sounding go a long way. Another thing that top producers do, I'm kind of skipping around here. Hopefully you're taking some good notes as we talk tonight. Is to call and confirm your appointments for the today or if you have the following day. So if you're not doing that and you feel like you're not making enough connections with people, if you've established, let's say I scheduled an appointment for last week, this week, I definitely want to make sure I'm making those phone calls and confirming that they're going to be able to make it the next day. You don't know how many times somebody said, I had this come up or that come up. Well, in sales, that excuses come up all the time. It's a way to kind of move things around. Now, of course, you can be flexible, but you run a business, and so you want to make sure that you're confirming all of your appointments. Make sure you do that the day before, or if you have an appointment, make sure that you've confirmed it so that you know that they're going to be there. There's WebEx appointments. There's email. You could email them just to confirm. You could text to confirm the appointment, or just quite simply pick up the phone and call them and just say, hey, I wanted to let you know I'm prepared for your appointment. I wanted to let you know I'm going to be available. If you have any questions before our appointment, you're welcome to text me, and then I give them my number so that they can contact me directly about the appointment. Moving on to the next tip from a top producer, most top producers are sending some sort of mail to their top 150 prospects. So they've established a list of 150, what they call their 150 favorite list. You can call it your friend list. You can call it whatever. Basically, their top 150 prospects, but they're sending some sort of mail piece out to that top 150 people every month. I got to be where, I got off the track. I'm doing more management than I'm selling. But if I was to get back in and sell at a very, very high level, most top producers are doing that type of level of contact. They're sending out that much mail every single month to their top 150. And that's how they get the business. They have their neighborhood that they work. They've got, their people from church. They've got their people in their database. They've got maybe leads they've talked to that they didn't sell anything to. They have all these people in a system, and they have about 150 of them, and they're constantly, obviously prospecting for business out of that list of 150 people, and they're sending a mail piece. They're sending something monthly to those people. Now, could I get away with maybe if I couldn't afford every single month to send 150, maybe I try a quarterly approach or maybe a semi-annual approach. Sure, if that's what you want to try, but your results are often based on how consistent you are. So I would say if you're going to create a plan for next year or the next 12 weeks to come up with a plan to hit your top 150 prospects, or maybe you only have 20 or 30 prospects, be consistent in your approach and make sure you're sending them something out, I would say monthly in a mail type of way. You're making that a contact. I would say if it was a closed client or somebody I interacted with, a quarterly phone call, not too much to make contact with your database. But a mail piece is kind of a subtle way of marketing to those people and letting them know that you're in the business. They're constantly bombarded with advertising and mail. So having that mail piece go out is very good. Advertising pieces, a lot of top producers will spend time every single day or in their business creating, designing, or following up or executing on those advertising pieces. They might create a certain amount of emails, and they need to update those regularly. So they build time in their business to do those things. They also might target, and you can do a lot of targeting with your advertising pieces now. And we'll talk more about that as we venture down this path together, such as targeting maybe builders or attorneys or financial planners, insurance agents, mortgage people, some of those affiliates that you do business with, making those contacts with those people and perhaps going at the advertising in a shared capacity. There obviously are regulations for title companies and escrow companies, but there isn't that type of arrangement when it comes to mortgage, financial planners, attorneys, and people of that nature. They often will share in your advertising piece. What other things do top producers do on a day when they start their day? They also work on social media. They have made a goal for themselves to spend maybe 15 minutes a day in their social media platform, updating it, posting something, or liking different items that they see on their social media. So I've talked with many real estate brokers over the last 3 years, and they said, Rochelle, I couldn't believe how much business was coming from my social media. When I really sat down and employed some of the ideas that we came up with a couple years ago on social media, and I employed those ideas, and I actually participated in social media, that's when I started to see results, and I can't believe how much business I'm getting from social media. And you'll hear this a lot lately, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, I hate Facebook. And I was there. I got to tell you, I was there too. It was like the worst thing that anybody would bring up when I would go to these classes in 2008, 9, and 10 and have people say, oh, you really need to be interacting more on social media. Well, when you think about the demographics, a lot of people are interacting in that fashion, and you could practically create your 150 top prospect list right from your Facebook if you have a very good interactive way of reaching out to these people. I'll give you another example. Another agent in our office has done a very good job of creating a business on Facebook, and 90% of his business comes from Facebook. What does he do? He creates a business page, and he's interacting with the people that have liked his page, and he hosts, or he attempts to host, where he educates people in his local community. And he has a regular events that he creates that he invites people to, and they invite their friends, and their friends invite their friends, and pretty soon he's building his entire business utilizing Facebook. So I know it can be done. To what use, I don't know. It depends on, obviously, your amount of time and how you build out your business. But I think it's something to consider, knowing that even my business, and I don't really participate in actively selling and buying, but in the past year, because I participate 15 minutes a day, is about all I spend on Facebook or LinkedIn, scrolling through to see what somebody's posted or to like something that I find interesting, and maybe post something once or twice, a month is about my frequency. Even with that level of engagement, I still am pulling probably 3 to 4 deals a year from that level of engagement. So that goes to show you that there is some business to be had in that forum. The last thing I'm going to cover tonight is how to build that 150 list. Quite simply, at this point, some of you have just joined Best Choice Realty, or you're thinking like, I've got to get going on this list. How am I going to build this list? What I would do is you can grab an Excel sheet, even a handwritten sheet that you could write their name, phone number, email address, or address on. And that's what you need. You just need that piece of contact. And then it would be better if it was on Excel, because then we could upload that list to some back-end systems to help you manage your business better. And I can help you with that. If you want to schedule a time, I'd be happy to sit down with you and go over how to import that into the back-end system. But you're looking for the people that are influential in your life or that you've interacted with on a professional level, people that would refer business to you, people that you're friends of family or family and friends, people that know who you are and that know that you're in real estate. And you're looking for their cell phone number, you're looking for their address, and you're looking for their name and their email address if you can get that. And then you will build your 150 list off that. You can just sit down with your cell phone. A lot of people have put their friends, family, acquaintances into their cell phones. So I just sit on the weekend, a blustery weekend this last weekend, I entered in about 30 people from my cell phone. I just kind of scrolled down my list and go, oh, I have that person in my database. Oh, I have that person. Nope, I don't have that person. And I added 30 people easily into my back-end system. So I know if I have that many people I interact with, or that, oh, it's my son's friend's mom, right? I mean, my son just started playing soccer, and so, I made a relationship there, and so I don't have her in my information loop, and so I need to add her into my back-end system, and so I'll go ahead and add her name, her email address, and her contact information, and she's in my information loop, so she's getting my regular newsletter. I'm making contact with her more frequently than I may have already, but you want to know your numbers. So once you kind of know your numbers, that 150 people, out of those 150 people, Dunbar, and this is a guy that's very scientific, the mobility rate is people are going to move every 5 years. And so if you have 150 people and the mobility rate is people are moving every 5 years, that means that 20% of the people are probably moving. And if you times that by 20, so take 150 times 20, that's 30 people who are probably moving if you have 150 people in your list. So that could just be plain and simple. They have thought about moving or will likely move in the next year, Those are people you want to reach out to and prospect. Now, here's where it really gets interesting, because you could basically build your business just on that number alone. I'm excited about that, thinking that's 30 potential transactions. If you are experienced and you know how to work both the sales side and the buy side, that could potentially be 60. Double that up. That's 60 potential commissions that you could receive. So, again, that's the potential of having a 150 list. But let's just say that 150 people, realistically, let's get realistic. My husband's very realistic. So if he said, yeah, that's nice and dandy, Rochelle, you're such an optimist, but what's the chances of 30 people actually moving? It's actually higher than you would think. But let's say that they know 150 people. That's 22,500 people that could potentially be moving. And that's doubling it up too. So think about that. When you're looking at your 150 list each month, and you'll need to adjust it. Some people you'll hate, that, I cannot stand this person. She's horrible to work with. Or she's really annoying. I don't really want to talk with her anymore. Obviously you want to keep that 150 list fresh and always be moving people in and out of that. Make it a goal for yourself. Every week I'm going to bring 5 more people into my list, or delete 5 people that are not good, that you're running that list really like a business, and adjust the data from the previous month. Some people will not engage. Other people will be your champions. They'll be the ones that every single week will say, Rochelle, hey, I've got this person that's thinking about buying or selling, or I've got this person that's thinking about joining a real estate brokerage. Again, the information that these champions or these people that are your best asset, they need to be rated and prioritized, and you need to make sure you're giving them proper attention and thank them for helping you build your business. So tonight, think about who are your top 150 clients that you're going to build your business with, and then determine how are you going to communicate with them, and what marketing plan should I use. And that's my takeaway for tonight, is who are your top 150 clients. So go through your list. They might not be, you go through this maybe in a year or maybe even next month, and you realize that maybe we're off base on who are your top 150. But go through your Facebook, go through your phone, go through your past clients if you are coming from another brokerage, and let's look at that list of people. Identify how you should communicate with them, whether it be by mail, by phone, by text message, by email, by Facebook, by social media, and then what marketing plan, how frequent should I contact them or reach out to them? And that's where you want to sit down and figure out your schedule. How often, when are you going to be making your calls? When are you going to be prospecting? Prospecting is where most agents, most top producers do their best work. They like interacting with people, and they're very good at connecting with people, and therefore they are paid accordingly. The more people they call, the more people they interact with, the more transactions are had. And that the success steps tracker will help keep you on track, knowing that you are making your goals. That you have a daily or a weekly goal for yourself, and that you have a plan to hit your goals. Even more importantly is having, seeing the results. And sometimes the results you don't see for several weeks, and that's okay. But if you have a partner, or you feel like you can reach out and contact somebody here at Best Choice to share the success or the results you're having, you'll find that there will be more success behind that. And that's because of the accountability. If you have something that you're held accountable for your business or your work in that type of independent contractor model, you'll find that you can really set yourself up for success. So with that, I'll let you guys go. I'm sorry I went a little bit over tonight. We normally go 5:30 to 6. But hope you have a great week, and good luck with your business. I look forward to next week's call as well.